All right, starting a little early here just to see if anyone wants to hop on. Feel free to come on the broadcast if you want to. I was hoping to get my virtual field trip guy on here, Brandon, but he's probably enjoying his Saturday somewhere, not paying attention to me. Make sure if you have any questions, you ask questions in the Q&A box while I'm going over all my stuff. I will be screen sharing, so I'll have to go back and forth to the Q&A. I'll just kind of pop back and forth after I do my screen share. So if you do have any questions, you can always hop on the broadcast too and talk to me live. Got about a minute, less than a minute. All right, well, 2 o'clock on my side of the world, 4 o'clock in Central Time. Time to go. All right, so this is Futures Made of Virtual. Yeah, I'm gonna sing. That's right. Virtual reality field trips. So virtual reality field trips in the classroom, VR, AR, all things mixed reality, coming to the classroom next year in a big way. So I'm Nick Clayton. I'm a teacher at Puesta del Sol in the desert in the middle of nowhere in California. And I'm a special education teacher. I'm an ambassador for a bunch of ed tech companies, GoNoodle, Class Dojo, Bunsey, Front Row, just to name a few. I'm a big GoNoodle dance guy, so I do have a GoNoodle built into the presentation, but I'm not going to make anyone dance because there's not really anyone on here, and I'm talking to myself at this point. So hopefully someone is watching and they can ask some questions of me. If not, you can always watch this later. Enjoy the information I'm sending out there. So I'm going to go ahead and, if no one has any questions right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and start the screen share. I'm going to start the presentation just so you can see some of the stuff, and I'll just go right into sharing. I'm going to switch over to my screen, so it might go all funky for just a second, but all right. Oh, someone is there. Hello, Miss Erin, Mrs. Erin Schmitz. Good to know. Someone is watching. Yay. I'm not talking to myself. Okay. Let me get my screen up here. I didn't shut it down. There we go. All right. So virtual reality field trips in the classroom. This is a presentation I did at ISTE. So I just am kind of using that same thing. So ambassador, teacher in California. Mia's Boxes of Love is my daughter's charity. Just as a plug for that, she started that at 5 years old. She's 7 years old now. She does a charity where she does Socktober in school, and she does a lot of other things around our local area, helping out the homeless population in our community. So just need to plug that in there. I need to make this smaller so I can see our Q&A here. There we go. Well, that's way too small. Okay, I'm going to cover up my QuickTime over here. And slide this over. Okay. So virtual reality field trips in the classroom. I'm gonna share a few of the resources. I did have someone stream in live last time. I'm hoping Brandon, I did invite him. I'm hoping he can come in for a little bit, but I didn't really prepare him for this session beforehand just because he has a lot of other stuff he's doing right now. But his program is called GeoShow, and he's a virtual field trips program, and you'll see his link later on. It's learnaroundtheworld.com, but he's also doing a big resource for VR, AR, mixed reality, and I'm going to do some more people on there. And I'm going to do some interviews and some podcasts and things talking about resources with Brandon. So I'm hoping to see him a little later. I did in the Hangouts. Sorry, in the session, I did add the Buncee on there. So there's a link to my to this Buncee that I'm using, which is my presentation here. So you can go on and find all the links and all the stuff there if you just click on that link, and you can follow along as well if you would like to. So moving on. There's no raffle, sorry. That was for ISTE. Yeah, I would love to give away things, but when his new season starts, you know what? He said he's taking a break until next year, just because he has run out of money. So I think he's going to start putting a lot of resources on his site, and he's going to kind of try to backtrack for GeoShow and kind of just build up his site and his resources for a little while. I don't think he's starting again until 2017-18 school year. So that's when Brandon will be starting again. I believe that's kind of what I got from him last time I talked to him. So I'm a Twitter file, an EdTech Geek ambassador. There's my Twitter at Crikey Potter. Most people don't know how to pronounce it. It's Crikey, like the croc, Crikey Potter. At Crikey Potter. That's Instagram. That's my social name there. I'm an ambassador for a bunch of different things. Nearpod is what I'm going to be using, and Pear Deck is something that is a presentation format. It's an interactive presentation format that you can actually use for your classroom, and you can run it, and it's interactive. It's kind of like Nearpod as well, interactive slides and maps and things that you can add. And Brandon uses it for his GeoShow as well. So just wanted to put that out there. We all love Twitter. I hope we're all on Twitter. This is ISTE stuff, so I'm just going to kind of click through some of this. This is interesting facts about Twitter. And I'm going over Twitter just because this is how I connect to all the people out there, and how I get to like people like Fran, who does global connections, and Twitter is just very important if you're out there as a global classroom. It kind of connects you to a lot of people in the education world. Out of 500 million tweets that are posted every day, 4.2 million are education related. So that's 1.5 billion ed tweets per year. Excuse me. 175,000 per hour, 3,000 per minute, and 50 per second. So and today, of course, there's a lot more because EdCamp is going on, but you know, it's a very powerful tool. So, and it's a very powerful tool for connecting people to things like GeoShow. It connected me to Google Plus, Connected Classrooms, where where Google set me up, and our class talked to the Solar Impulse project, which just finished its flight around the world. And we actually got to talk to them in Switzerland while they were building the airplane, and while they were first designing the cockpit and everything. And we got to talk to the scientists there. Really interesting. But you know, that the Twitter led me to that connection, and Google Plus led me to that connection, and it, you know, it's just kind of snowballed from there. And we've done a ton of other field trips all around the world, and now it's going into the virtual world where we're connecting to Google Cardboard and virtual reality and augmented reality. So all this stuff, you know, they're just tools. I'm gonna skip the evil AI thing. And behind those tools are, you know, teachers like you guys, and students, and, you know, engineers, scientists, people that professionals in the in the world where we can connect and discuss in ways like we are at Camp Global. But really those tools don't work, and all of these Google Hangouts and everything, they're just there to facilitate connections between people, and that's really what these virtual field trips are about. They're not about just seeing cool sites or whatever. It's about connecting with people as well, and connecting with cultures a lot of the time for the virtual field trips. Educators do drive student access to things like authentic learning experiences, 21st century skills, and learning for all. So we do need to constantly strive for learning new things and learning new experiences through virtual field trips. And I think that it's important that we know these, all these different things that are available, so that we can really have these authentic learning experiences, so they can kind of learn in different ways. Your students can learn in different ways. So tools do not necessarily equal learning. That's what I'm talking about. Educators and the people behind them. Albert Einstein said, "I never teach my pupils. I only attempt to provide the conditions in which they can learn." And virtual reality, I think, can really offer just a fully immersive and fully surrounding and encompassing experience for students. Kind of like virtual field trips have allowed, but putting them in virtually there on the spot as well can just it will change the way that students learn, and it'll just offer them that ability to be in the perfect conditions for learning and experiencing. So when we're talking about VR, there are questions about whether how it relates to the classroom, is how we can bring it to the classroom. And the essential question is, in the classroom, is it better to have students fill in the gaps with their own imagination? So do they need to construct it from what they are learning, or is it better to provide them with a veridical representation, so a representation that's real life, something that they where it fully immerses them in whatever it is they're learning? So it's good for them to construct and create and build this idea of what they're learning, but it's also helpful to have for a lot of students to have stand there in ancient Mesopotamia and look around, or actually see and move the structure of a plant cell through augmented reality. And I'm going to show you an app that actually does that now. Hopefully I have it. I think I have it in my bookmarks. One that I just found that I haven't added to this presentation yet, so you can get a little exclusive. So what is a VFT, a virtual field trip? You don't need a bus, you just need a connection, and you can connect from one side of the world to the other. Time zones are a little difficult, so like it's dark right now in Europe, so it's kind of hard. It would be kind of hard to connect with people in Europe unless you set that up prior to your virtual field trip. But you can also do a live virtual field trip where you guys are exchanging back and forth through videos. So they've been doing virtual field trips for a while. But and then what is VR? What is virtual reality? Here is Granny trying virtual reality for the first time. If you've never tried Google Cardboard, which I hope most people have at this point, this is the kind of experience you have. Hopefully it's playing. Hopefully you guys can see that and hear what the grandma screaming. But that's the kind of experience I had as well. The screaming and the VR just being so amazing, and I think that's kind of the students' reaction as well when they see this for the first time, see this virtual reality. It's awe-inspiring, and it's just there's so many possibilities when you bring virtual reality and augmented reality into education. So, and I'm including augmented reality, I'm including AR also because it's kind of being included in virtual reality. It's mixed reality is just it's kind of going hand in hand now most of the time. So having the ability to augment the world around you, obviously through Pokemon Go is a big deal right now, and you know it becoming such a big fad is kind of get you thinking ways to use that augmented reality and things in education. So so right now VR is kind of in its infancy still, but it is growing in education in a very big way, and a lot of companies are putting virtual reality into their products now. So as for how virtual reality can help in education, active learners, participating in a discussion, giving a talk, doing a dramatic presentation, simulating the real experience, they tend to remember after 2 weeks 90% of what they say and what they do. So if they're experiencing, and I'll show you some things that will I'll show you an app, some devices that show how to stream virtual reality in the future. They're going to be streaming virtual field trips. So at that point, that's where you get the real, like being able to talk to someone while they're standing, like, I don't know, on Mount Everest or something, and being able to ask them, things about where they're at while you're in that world as well, kind of like you're standing there with them, would kind of be the ultimate learning experience, I think, just being able to walk around. So that's the point of virtual reality field trip. So VR, as in terms of how you can bring this to your classroom, Google Cardboard, I do have a class set. It's even cheaper than $15 to $120. You can find them I found them for less than $8 on Amazon. I got a class set, very cheap class set. The only problem is having the actual devices to put into them. That's hopefully if you're middle or high school, it'd be a little easier to have students bringing devices to schools and having a bring your own device kind of environment, kind of classroom, so you're able to use the Google Cardboard. But the elementary classroom, like I'm going to be in, you would have to find a solution. Google did just put out, our Best Buy just put out a system in the $3,000 to $10,000 range that works with Google Cardboard, that comes with devices. So there are kits out there now for virtual reality and Google Expeditions, but they are very expensive at this point. So hopefully those prices will come down as virtual reality gets newer. And then there's Oculus Rift, there's HTC Vive, there's the Vive, I don't know how to say it, but anyways, it's the higher end devices, and Google is also coming out with a higher end device. These are where there's interactive capabilities, so you're actually able to move objects around and touch them and interact more with the environment. Google Cardboard, there is very limited interactivity. You can move around, you can interact with some things in some of the apps, but it's you don't have any input devices other than just a click kind of thing. So and it is getting better as the apps are more developed, but these prices will also come down soon as those devices become more competitive, more used, and the prices, the competitiveness between the companies brings down the prices. So, and then devices for capturing and creating virtual reality go all the way from your phone, from the about $200 range. You can actually, and well, free range technically if you already have a phone, you can create VR spheres, and there are some capabilities with Android to create VR videos, but you also have to have the spheres, you can add sound to them, so they're kind of like real virtual reality, but it's not an actual video like Discovery VR or things, apps like that. So, and I'll show you some of those apps in just a minute. I know I turned my notifications off. Anyways. And then there are devices for capturing VR videos, and there are actually drones out there that have 360 cameras attached to them and can create flying VR videos as well that they're coming out with, which I hope to get at some point. It would be awesome, but you know, they're $1 million at this point, so not 1 million, but a lot of money. So Ricoh, this one is just about the cheapest 360 spherical video camera out there, and I've seen Brian Miller, the EdTech nerd, I've seen him take a few 360 pictures with it, 360 videos with it. They come out okay, but they're not, they're not of the greatest quality. I haven't checked out any of the other cameras, but I'm hoping in the research that I'm doing in my classroom this upcoming year, I'll be doing a research project. I'll be talking about that in a little bit, but doing a research project with VR, I'm hoping to use some of that equipment and see what students' capabilities are for VR creation as well. Not time for a brain break. We're not going to do that. There's no one here. Is Brandon here yet? No. No one's here. There is a link to jump on if you ever want to jump on the live recording as well. There is a link on this to go into the actual Hangout if you want to talk about things. Once again, I have the Q&A up if you ever have any questions about any of the stuff that I'm presenting. So GeoShow, this is a virtual field trip program, but he has also created some VR spaces as he has done his trips. The VR he has done is he just started in I think he did a couple when he was in New York, or in the on his East Coast virtual field trips, but he's done a bunch when they went to Mexico last season. So this is a virtual expedition program, and he takes classrooms around the world and shows them interesting experiences that he goes to, and does live hangouts with students in classrooms, and connects them to other classrooms around the world, and has an interactive program that he runs. And he also has, he uses a program called Round.me, and I'll show that to you on my screen here. This is my phone, but there's an app called Round.me, and he creates VR photospheres as he travels around the world with his program. And let me find him really quickly. And so students can go on and look at these virtually. If you do have a device or Google Cardboard, you can go on and kind of pass that around to the students. You can also look at them online at round.me. And he is Learn Around the World. Whoops. I spelled it correctly. What a great teacher I am. There he is. And he has created 23, it looks like. But of the places he goes to, he went to Guatemala. He went to volcanoes. in Central America. He did the Mexico-Guatemala border crossing. He did a 360 picture of the ruins, and I'll just turn this, and you can, once it pulls up, you can see it. You can pan around and look at it, but then you can also do it in cardboard mode. So if you turn it sideways, and it's not going to do it on my screen, but turn it sideways, there's a little Google Cardboard symbol there, and you just click on it, and you can put it into your Google Cardboard and see it in virtual reality. And so you can kind of just look around at the sites that he goes to, and then you know, as you discuss this with your students, you can have them actually be in those places. So he has a very cool program, Learn Around the World, and I've been with Brandon since the start of his program. Very awesome guy, and just he out there, a completely free program for teachers and classrooms, and he's just out there trying to help people. Uh-oh. Tried to join the Hangout, but something. Let me just check. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Hangout. But I have issues with Google. I probably shouldn't have done it in Google Hangouts, but I don't think many people have Zoom, which is another program that I use. But sorry about the people not being able to get on to the Google Hangout. I don't know. They have issues with trying to get on the virtual on the Google Hangout. Oh, and now I'm getting an email from Fran. I just want to make sure. Oh, okay. People are telling me, yeah, my live link is not working. Wonderful. Well, let me redo the link really quickly so we can see if this is going to work. Go back here. I'm going to repost the live link. The event page. I'm going to recopy the live link and put that on this page. So I'm just going to post it here. So hopefully the live link works. Anyways, you can always use the Q&A. Cannot join Hangout. Yeah, I know. I have so many issues with Google Hangouts. Sorry, I'm just going to keep going. Okay. So why is that going in a weird order too? Google Apps for Education also have several apps that I use in my classroom. The Google Cardboard app for iPhone, or there's Cardboard Camera app as well, and a Google Cardboard app for, oh, I hear someone. Hello, people are joining. Hi, Fran.
It works.
It works. Yay. My old link must just not have worked. So.
Yeah, it's basically just like you join with yourself. There's nobody behind the link.
Wonderful. Okay. Anyways, okay. Well, good of you to join. Good of you guys to join halfway. At least you could listen to me at the beginning. So.
All right. I was looking at that app that you were just saying. It was called a Rounder. So that allows. Okay, does that allow you to turn it into virtual reality? So picture, is that what it's doing? And
yes.
It's cardboard?
Yes, you can actually, I think I'm not sure if you can record it from, yeah, I think you can record it from those. Let me see the app real quickly. I haven't actually used this one because I used the Google Street View to make my 360 things. Oh yeah, see, you can create. Oh, if you create them, see, I created this one at ISTE. I had one of the ISTE people, one of the people in the crowd actually create this panoramic. So and it just saved to my phone. So the panoramics you create, you can actually select them from here. I don't know if you can create it in the app. It says create, so I think you can create it. But anyways, you can create panoramics with Google Street View, which I'm about to talk about right now. So you can do the creation through that, and then just save it to your phone, and then you can add them through this, and you should be, I think you're able to add music and stuff with Round.me. I know he has added music to it, but I'll show you another app also that has possibility to add music and things like that. But you can just title it ISTE, and then I'm just going to go just to see it. Oh, see, and then this one you can't add sound, but I know they have the capability to add sound. I think Brandon told me that there's a way to do it. I think you have to do it online though, on the actual website. So if you go onto the website round.me, you can see it down at the bottom, round.me. I think that's where you can add the sound to it, so you can actually create record sound and attach it to that panoramic picture as well. So yeah, there's the ability to create it in there. And then I'll also show you Google Street View, which a lot of teachers use and a lot of people use. I used it last year for my virtual reality elective, creating virtual spaces. So you can, when you open up Google Street View, this is for iPhone. For Android, I believe it's cardboard camera, but Google Street View also has the same capability, I believe. I haven't played around with it on Android too much, just because I don't have an Android. I am getting an Android, hopefully. Well, I'm getting a small class set, like 5 to 8 things next year for 5 to 8 devices, excuse me, not things, devices, for virtual reality research. A research company is sending them to me. And, oh, Fran is talking to me. I shouldn't pull up my messages. I had an issue at ISTE, but Fran knows about it. But anyways, so what was I talking about? You can, my research. So I'm doing, once you get the devices, you can start creating these, and cardboard camera, I believe you can do some kind of, like, you can attach sound to it and things like that. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't looked at the app too much. But this is Google Street View. So you can, wherever you're standing, you can create a panoramic 360 space, and it will attach it to Google Maps, and anyone in the world can find it. So if you want, and you can also keep them private if you have student faces or whatever, and just share them with specific people. Or so you click on the camera, and it asks you. Oh, of course, this thing is in the way. Let me move this out of the way. Move. Make you smaller. I can't. Okay, so it asks you to use link to a 360 camera, which would be something like the cameras that I showed earlier, or import 360 photos, or you can use your camera. And so the camera gives you a dot, and the students can just hold it up to the dot, and it takes its own picture. Point the camera at the dot. Come on, take a picture. And it does it on its own, and then it just guides you around to the next dots. And so you take all the pictures and make your 360 space. And discard it. And then it stitches it together. It takes like maybe 2 minutes to stitch it together, if that. And then you have your own 360 photospheres. Oh, I have 970 views on that. And so I had students, this is our library, so I had my students, and then if you open up your 360 photo, you can see the little cardboard camera picture there. So you place it into your cardboard camera, and it becomes a virtual reality. And the app, if you just updated it, it's going to turn blank when you try to go cardboard right now, because they're working on a new update. Someone just came to me asking me the same issue. Right now they're not working for some reason, but they're updating it very shortly, so they're going to come up with an update. But this is my school library, and had a student take this picture. You can see the student's shoes down at the bottom, and he created this virtual space of our library, so this is breaking down the walls so people can see our campus and see places where the students can learn. So there's a lot of capabilities for sharing, for for flattening your classroom with 360 photos, for just having the students share their life and their culture and their campus with other campuses around the world. And that's kind of my idea for what I'm going to be doing coming up next year. So very good app for creation, and Google is just coming out with more and more things for VR and VR creation. So if you haven't seen Google Cardboard, look at that and look at the intro video. It will shock and amaze you. Trust me. I didn't lose people, did I? You guys are still back there? Yeah, you are. Okay, good. I have to. Yeah,
I just turned off the microphone because
yeah, I know.
I didn't want to cause anything, so I'm still here.
Good. I think you need to use Street View to create, then import in the app. Yes, that's kind of what the idea we got behind Round.me. So yeah, thank you for checking in there. And then Google Expeditions also came out. I don't believe it's on. I haven't checked on iPhone lately, but they said they're coming out soon for iPhone. It's Android only, but Google Expeditions allows you to not go to Nearpod yet. Allows you to guide your students around different spaces. Let me just go to Google Expeditions really quickly. It lets you take your students around the world, and they have built-in lessons to take your students virtually anywhere in the world. And you can also, through the Google Street View app, you can visit basically any space in the world. If you are lucky enough to have devices or bring your own devices, and you want to take your students, walk them through a book or through a place in a book that you're reading, just find that place on the map. They have 360 photos for just about anywhere in the world, and just have them stand there and while you're discussing it, and have them live in that space while you're talking about the book or while you're reading the book, and it just becomes more of an enriching experience for your students. This is Google Expeditions, so they have preset lessons, information on places around the world, even underwater. At the Galapagos Islands, as you can see on the screen here. You can buy kits for Google Expeditions now through Best Buy. They have pre-made kits for Google Expeditions starting at I think $4,000. But you can actually take your students to some place on the map as they're on their devices, and they explore just that specific area that you have them in on the map. So as you're discussing like turtles or whatever information is there on the map, if you're talking about just a certain part of the pyramids or wherever you're going to, you can just discuss that and read that through that information and have the students just in that area. So you can point them to a specific location, and you can also have them freely search the area so they can go and virtually move around in the larger space and the larger part on the map. And I wish I had my stuff to share with everyone, but the company hasn't sent it to me yet, so there'll be more sharing as the year goes on with that. So so that's Google Expeditions. I want to keep going because there's a lot of stuff to share. Very interesting. If you want to check it out, just type in Google Expeditions and search it, and pretty awesome software. If you have an Android, download it now and check it out. It's going to be the future of science and virtual exploration. So not that either. There we go. So Google Cardboard, all right, Cardboard camera, and then Nearpod. So if you don't happen to have a large set of devices, Nearpod has a solution for that, and they have VR field trips on their site that they have a lot for free and for a very cheap amount of money as well that they're adding more. But there are several exploring the ocean, exploring Mars, several VR virtual field trips that are free on their site. And so this is kind of a mixed thing. So if you have, my classroom has Wonder on Chromebook, so I'm going to get a a small set of devices. So if I do have, let's say I have like 5 groups, and I give one VR headset, one Google headset, a cardboard headset to that group, the other 3 in the group can follow along with the same let me go into Nearpod. Can go onto the same presentation, the same virtual field trip, and actually see the same things, just not in virtual reality, see the same things and be guided through the same things that the person on the virtual thing is. So you can kind of share the device and have the students, I know sharing is impossible with students, but have them kind of pass that device around while the other students are on something like a laptop or a Chromebook, or an iPad if you're one-to-one iPads. So you can have all students on the lesson at the same time, seeing the same information. You just are able to integrate the VR into the lesson. Let me just go to one of the lessons really quickly, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And my library. Here we go. Okay, so like we'll go to the underwater because that's a fun one. So if you want to join, no, I'm just going to go through it really quickly, so there's no reason to join. But anyways, it's so it's kind of a slide program. Nearpod is kind of a slide program, but it has so many other capabilities. So like this would go out to the student devices. They would all enter the presentation through the pin, and it's all free for students to sign up, free for teachers, and they log in through the pin, and they're seeing the same virtual space. And so the students that do have the cardboard devices, if you do happen to have a whole classroom that has devices, they can be on virtually and go through it virtually as well. But they can see this virtual space on there, and just like I'm moving around in it right now, the students can move in and see this space as well. So you can have them standing underwater while you're teaching about the different kinds of things. You know, if you're doing science, talking about the different types of underwater plants or whatever, underwater organisms. And then they also have teacher notes that go along with the lesson. So the students start seeing this, they're still on this virtual space while you're running and talking about the lesson and teaching the lesson of different biomes on Earth. This is learning about marine biomes, and so you kind of go over the lessons, and then what is a marine biome. So it pushes out to the students, and they're able to virtually explore in a mixed kind of device environment. If you do have one-to-one laptops or iPads, you can still have some virtual devices at the same time and have some of the students be on virtual devices. Or even if you want to have a VR group just doing it, and you kind of rotate the groups and have them experience that in different times. So Nearpod is awesome in offering that kind of capability, and it's kind of the same thing as, kind of a little, not the same thing, but kind of gives you the capabilities of Google Expeditions, and has those lessons pre-made as well. You can also create your own virtual reality field trips on Nearpod as well. There's the capability to create and bring in your own panoramic things, and I think I have that on my slide. You can actually import through 360 cities. You can create your own field trips that are virtual as well. They do have pre-existing destinations. So if you do want to add anything, I'm not sure if they have that capability where you can add your own photos or 360 spheres or whatever, but and import those. But I'm sure that capability is coming down the pipe for Nearpod. So it's just an amazing program, and I think that there's a lot of capability with classrooms that might have a mixed device classroom. So for the younger elementary classrooms, this is the way. This might be the way to go until you can have that kit from the big kit from Google or whatever for virtual for Google Expeditions. And then this is ThingLink is kind of business oriented right now for their VR creations. So ThingLink, a lot of teachers use this for student creation as well, for putting links and videos and things onto a virtual space. It's not as developed as Nearpod right now, but they do have VR lessons from ThingLink. They have an app. I'm not sure if I have that. I don't have it, that app yet, but VR does have, ThingLink does have VR lessons that you can go through, and you click on the different pictures within the app. So you can actually click on these using the little dot that you see on Google Cardboard. If you've ever used Google Cardboard, it does have a click function, so you can actually have the students go and follow along to different places within the virtual space through these ThingLink lessons. So, but they're pushing the business side, because a lot of real estate companies are doing this, doing the VR spaces for their homes now, so people can actually walk virtually through the homes without having to, run their clients out to the spaces. So that's where they're headed as far as focus right now. But they do have, like I said, the VR lessons app, so they are developing that right now. And because VR is in its infancy, they're still playing with it and messing with it, and they'll add more and more stuff as it goes on. So it's just going to get better. And Foundry 10 is the company that I'm doing. It's foundry10.org that I'm doing the research project with next year. I just found them through. I actually found them through Stephen Isaacs. He was periscoping out his different VR sessions that he was doing with his students, and they had actually sent him a HTC headset, virtual VR headset, and let him use it with the students, and he was putting that out and showing it on a Periscope, and he tagged the company in there, and I clicked on the link and went to Foundry 10 and saw the VR research projects and things that they're doing, and contacted the company, and they saw that I had done a VR elective and kind of used the virtual spaces and created virtual spaces, and I just forced them to help me out with a research project. So not really forced them, but that's a joke. So they're sending me devices for the Google Cardboard class set that I have, and we're going to kind of work together to integrate VR into all the different aspects of my curriculum as I go through the year, and we're just going to kind of see how VR can be used with all different types of subject and research. So foundry10.org. These are some of the research, some of the research infographics they sent to me for my session. So the questions that they asked of the teachers, kind of where they're at as far as virtual reality. Not a lot of people have had a lot of experience using virtual reality, so you can see that that's not a big. VR is definitely. Yeah, we're just kind of learning how to integrate it right now. It's not even. It's very much in its infancy. We don't, there's not a lot of understanding of how to do it. So as we go on, we'll find more functionality for it. But I think that there are a lot of capabilities. As like I said, having students, be in the spaces within a book, or having them be able to integrate using mixed reality. So they're using apps like Lifelike, which is I really want to get to and show you, but I'm just trying to get a point across right now, and able to move a virtual object around and see how it works, and see the parts of whatever they're learning about in biology, or just being able to do anything and see anything and be anywhere has a lot of potential for education. So these are just different information about infographics, information about VR. I'm not really going to go over that too much because I want to go over a few more apps before my time is up.
Nick, do you know
Yes.
that we cannot see your screen right now?
No, I don't, because it kicked me out.
Yeah. We see you, not the screen.
All right, here we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you for being
That's
there for
okay.
me.
And then I asked about the foundry10.org. Is that a program that other teachers can apply for?
Yes.
Are you special?
Well, anyone can apply for it. They can actually, let me go to Foundry 10. They already have the set of people that they have for the upcoming school year, but they're trying to get more and more people into it. I'm not sure how limited their funding is as far as how many people they can take into the program, but I know they're expanding this year a lot. They have like 10 or 15 classrooms that they're doing. And they just changed their site too. So they actually have programs for a lot of different things, not just virtual reality. That just happens to be a very blossoming subject right now. So they're kind of researching in a lot of different areas. But yeah, anyone can kind of contact them and see. I'm sure they'll work with anyone just to see how to see how they can integrate like their research or their programs or whatever they're doing into teaching, because they're teacher focused right now and research focused. So, but they are also see, they have a Let's Collaborate button. There it is right there. But they are in the process of developing like integrating VR into curriculum and finding out how all these more fringe kind of subjects, education subjects can work with all different kinds of areas of education. So I think if you're out there and you're trying different things and new things, they'll find a way to work with you. So yeah, just contact them and collaborate with them. They are teacher centered right now. So big Let's Collaborate button there. What were you saying, Fran? Sorry.
The other thing I was going to ask was it ZSpace or something that you were talking about earlier? Or I had seen a demo on them, but were they
that's kind of an augmented reality one, ZSpace. I wasn't talking about ZSpace, but
okay, that's what came into my head then.
Lifelike is the one I just found.
Okay. Lifelike.
Yeah, and it's an app, but
Lifelike.
I have it on my iPad, but let me just show you the video here.
Oh, I see now.
You can they have interactive models, so you can go on and look at the models, and then actually turn it into VR mode and look at it in VR. So here it is, augmented reality. I'm pretty sure they had a VR mode for it, but you can actually go in and spin it around. Oh yeah, they do have a VR. Oh no, see, that's the augmented reality mode. So you can actually put it like it's there inside the classroom, and you can move it around and see, and they have all different types of information. So this is kind of like VSpace or ZSpace, excuse me, and ZSpace actually does it. It's a mixed reality program that integrates virtual reality with augmented reality. So it actually like pops out of the screen. Let me see if I can find a video of it. So yeah, so you wear the VR glasses, and so that you can actually interact with the objects, the augmented reality objects, as you're looking at them virtually. So the
demonstration I saw was they were doing dissections with it, and they could pull out pieces, and I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then I guess they could have two kids at once working on it, but one controls, but they both can see with their glasses.
Yeah, and I asked.
You had to get the special.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's I think a large cost to it, but it was amazing.
Yeah, and that's I asked Foundry if they had any ZSpace stuff, but they don't have any of that yet. So it's a little out of the price range right now. But yeah, expensive equipment, but it's very, that's kind of like where it's headed to, not just virtual reality, but interactivity, where you can actually interact with the objects that you're looking at. So there's a site that shows you a heart that gradually gets see-through. Glass heart. Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that one.
We're seeing.
I'm sorry. What?
We only see. Yeah, I kicked you out again. We don't see your screen.
They're doing that. Screen VR. No. I'm just going to do entire screen again. Present to everyone. I don't know why it keeps doing that.
Okay, there. I see now.
All right. And then I'm going to show just a couple more. Oh, one that I found that's really interesting is called CoSpaces, that I messed around with and I shared with everyone because I was excited about it. So this is an actual VR creation, 3D creation site that's free for teachers and free for people to get on now. You can, let me log in real quick. You can create virtual reality spaces and create text and integrate text and pictures and sound into these 3D spaces that you create. And I created one for the Haunted Mansion just because I was excited about it and wanted to, because I love Disneyland and love the Haunted Mansion. So I actually integrated. I put in pictures just from, you can just pull up pictures from the internet, and I just posted pictures around of the Haunted Mansion and put the Haunted Mansion soundtrack to it through an MP3, and you can actually go in the app. There's the sound now. You can go in through the app and turn this into a VR space. So let me go into the app and actually show that to you really quickly because I have 5 minutes. So here's the CoSpaces app, and there's my project that I just had. So you can actually go in here and turn this into cardboard mode, and you have a space that students can create and actually add music to and walk around in virtually, and this is a brand new project and a brand new thing, and so they haven't developed a lot, but they have a teacher site on Facebook where they have a lot of ideas, and I think the person, one of the people from this company actually is doing an ed camp or has done an ed camp session today, kind of showing the capabilities of CoSpaces and the VR. So you can just imagine the creation, the projects that can be created through this. Let me get out of this really quickly. And it's really easy to build and move around. It's pretty amazing. So
this is Denise. I have a question for you.
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
So this virtual reality, like I said, I've seen, I've gotten together with a friend and she's brought out the glasses, and I've seen the glasses, and you put the phone in there, and it's giving the students a three-dimensional view. And at this point, like, I just saw the VR for the moon. I'm writing an astronomy course right now, an online astronomy course.
Yes.
So I could see the students as an option because I work online. And I've been doing this even with apps, giving them the option. I always say option because that's required, to download, the VR app and then to, explore the moon. I see using it right now in the form that it's in a supplemental thing kind of thing. If you teach or if you're in a classroom and you have 50 minutes and you're teaching about the moon the whole time, and then you have the last 10 minutes left, to load up the glasses and have all the kids interact, okay, and see it, that kind of, that would really inspire kids, and I think it would really take kids in. But it's still not at the point where there's, where you're interacting with the content, like there's questions or anything that pops up. I mean, it's just giving you a three-dimensional, I don't know, a four-dimensional view, correct? We're still moving into the area with VR, with it being more, like
actual videos and things like that.
Kids interacting, be able to grab flag out of the moon, those kinds of things.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're still not there yet, right?
Yeah, and that's why it's still in its infancy. Let me show you something really quickly. Just share my screen again if it actually works for me.
And it's getting to the point too, I've heard like there's different websites where you could like cut out a frame for the glasses and make your own at home and purchase, instead of going out and purchasing. And there was some kind of cereal giveaway my girlfriend was telling me about. You have to mail out these, you buy so much cereal.
Yeah, I saw that.
Little tabs, and then you get the VR glasses back. I mean, I just see it as being a virtual type of experience, but then, like I said, I don't see it, you can't use it for a whole class period because your kids would go wild,
Yeah.
I can see it for the last 10 minutes of class and, having that opportunity. Or my online students, showing them, what it can do and saying it's an option. And, and before we even start class, I'm giving them some free apps to download on their smartphone. And, maybe also this can be also an option. Now, this is pretty neat, this CoSpace is what you're saying, is because you can actually, if kids are going to do a project, it can be an additional add-on to the project.
Exactly. It can be a culmination thing, too. I mean, you can actually, they can type in there, so you can actually have them, and I think there's the capability to actually create 3D things in there as well.
Right.
But
it sort of makes me laugh because I think of like the dioramas, like when we were kids, where we had like the shoe box and had to cut the things out and like put a diorama in. Like I hope no one's still doing that. But I'm saying this sort of like takes the place of the diorama, and in a sense, I mean, it looks like it's pretty easy to put together if you just have to find a couple images online and the kids load them in, and then even if you only have 3 sets of glasses in the classroom, at the end of the presentation, being able to make one of these, and that would really supplement it. And I think it would really be positive for kids. And I think I can even see parents going, okay, let's go out and get a set of these, order these so that you can do this at home. I see that happening as well. But I'm trying to see, like, it's got to be a little bit more, it could be a supplemental resource, but you can't, let's be honest, I can't see teaching a lesson for 50 minutes with the VR. That's where I'm at. I don't know what you
I think that's why, like, Nearpod, let me stop that. Nearpod kind of has, they have other slides that integrate with it and quizzes and things like that go along. So I mean, you could be in that space for a little bit, but then you have to go and have some other parts to that lesson. So,
right. Or in a class period, you could use CoSpace and have all the kids during the class period make that.
Yeah.
In the computer lab, if you're doing a project, you could give them 15 minutes to put that together. And you know that these kids would all go running trying to grab the device off of you because everybody would want to see their, that's the big thing, is that you have to have enough of those devices and enough cardboard, going around the room. So you'd have to make it work. Either be a station or something, or who knows, maybe at the beginning of the year you may be able to get some parents that are really that would donate or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if the students, I mean, it's under $10 for a cardboard set. I mean, if they're buying that, that can be just a simple expense at the beginning of the year or whatever. And I mean, a lot of upper grade students are going to have devices, like I said, anyway, like middle and high school.
Right.
So if you are doing like more of the science and some of those apps that are more science driven and things like that, and you want to use that, they have more of the capability of bringing their devices. But that is the biggest, like you said, the biggest issue is not having enough devices. That's the issue I ran into when I tried to do my VR elective. Is they said they had devices, they brought a couple in, and they didn't really work. So you can have them creating and going on these virtual spaces, but unless you kind of want to do a mixed thing where like I said, mixed devices kind of thing with Nearpod, or go in and full on and pay for it and have your school district pony up a lot of money for the Google Expeditions kit, you're not going to really have.
So your kids brought in the devices that didn't work. Were they Android and iPhones? Were they bringing?
I had one student with an iPhone, and it was an older iPhone, and it sort of worked, but it was spotty with how well it worked. and then I had a couple students bring in Androids, but they were not. They just didn't. They were older, like Androids, or just not. And I'm kind of in a high poverty area, so I had higher hopes than I ended up working with, but that it just kind of, I think a lot of the trust, the parents might have had the devices, but they don't really trust the elementary students bringing them in and being able to handle them all day and bring them back home. So I think there's a trust thing in that as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a mom of a 12-year-old, and I'm very hesitant to be like, she's asking me for a phone at this point, and I'm like, you know what? They're really expensive, and then are you really going to come home with it?
Yeah, exactly. And
I learned mine and stuff, but that is. I mean, they're very expensive devices. Now, she is in a school that's 1-to-1, so they are using iPads. And that's the device that they have selected. But, you'd be surprised, I think, if you made a video, like a video about the actual app itself, texted out all your parents and showed it to your parents watched the video talking about it.
Yeah.
You may have kids that go home and their parent may load it on their smartphone and the parent may do it with their kids. So you're sort of encouraging it there. Also, if you're going to do a parent-teacher night, and you let them know ahead of time that you're going to have these glasses out. They may, some of these parents may load the apps and then show up, and then you have the glasses sitting there. Come on, we're going to use the glasses. So it might be a good way to engage it that way. But yeah, I mean, I understand being a parent too. My daughter, I want a phone, and I'm like, well, the thing is, you're with the contract and everything, you're talking $1,000. The kid loses it, and that's the end of it. So. Yeah. I mean, and we have all the devices. I mean, I have 3 Macs in my house. We all have iPads, but it's just you've got to be really careful with you give that kind of expensive device to a kid.
Yeah.
But
I actually my one of my students in that elective was my secretary's daughter, and my secretary actually was like, okay, I'm giving this to you and not to my daughter because I don't trust her with it. So it's like they brought it in. She brought it in during the session. She brought it in she told me right during lunch when I went and talked to her. She told me, and she was like, here, I'm giving this to you. So I mean, it could be bringing in the parents for the session or something if you want to just do that. That's very intimidating for teachers, but it's cool to think about. So and it's as the devices get cheaper and as it goes on, I think there'll be more capability for it. I think that Google will be good about developing lower devices that aren't necessarily phones. Maybe they'll come out with some kind of iPod kind of thing where it's a device that's just Wi-Fi or something that could work with the VR and because I'm confused on and I tried to talk to Best Buy about what the devices are for those Google Expedition kits, if they're phones or what kind of Android devices these are. Do they have the capability to are they phones or are they just kind of iPod type devices? And I wasn't really clear, but I think that might be a way to go as far as thinking about cheaper devices. They can make them so they're not phones, so they're much on the cheaper end where they're just for these virtual things or just the apps can be loaded on there for because you can get an Android tablet for really cheap now. So and I'm sure that they can make tablet size things into a smaller version that'll fit in the cardboard. So I think that capability will be there.
I think if you actually just made a video through iMovie and talked a little bit about it and then used your Remind Me 101 and texted out a video to all your parents, you would have kids coming in the next few days going, hey, my mom and dad, we did it last night. I mean, that's what I'm doing in the online world. I'm giving them the option of using some different apps, and one was an augmented reality app, 3D Space Viewer from NASA, and some of my students they messaged me and said they were using it at home. So, I mean, obviously it's going to be your higher level kid, your kid that really wants, your smarter kids that really care about learning, your highly involved, you have a little bit more involved parents possibly. But that's just another option to get it out there. But I mean, it's something really neat. It's something exciting, and I really like that CoSpaces site.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
awesome.
really big right there if the kids can actually make their own experiences. All right, I'll stop talking.
And the Lifelike site too, I found that was pretty good for the augmented reality because they already have like thousands of models out there already. So
which other site did you mention?
It's Lifelike. It's called Lifelike.
Okay. With that Q, Lique.
Yeah, LIF.
Box. So I have that as well. I'm gonna write these down.
Yeah, and I'll add these other sites like CoSpaces and stuff to the presentation, but I'll put that in.
Yeah, and I have a very good friend who teaches she teaches at university level, but she teaches beginning, teachers that are getting ready to go out in the field, and she is covering AR with them. She's got the Clarboard and all that. So this is something good that I'll share with her as well because, again, it's definitely something like if you're a fourth-year college student, you're getting ready to do your student teaching or about to, go into that phase. This is something really great to find out about.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. That's good information for me too. I'll use it.
Okay. Did you put those in the chat box? Those those?
Yeah, I just put them into the event page. I just
okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I'll stop talking now.
No problem. Yeah, I have a party to get to, so I'm gonna end it right now. But if you have any other questions for me, you want to type in the comments. You want to add it to the events page. You want to contact me on Twitter, on anywhere. Just I'm on Twitter all the time. I get the notifications, and that's where a lot of people contact me for the VR stuff. That's like some guy was having an issue with the Street View thing, and that's where I contacted them through. So
okay, what's your handle?
Crikey Potter.
Crikey Potter, CRIKEY Potter.
Okay.
And I put the link for the Buncee on there. That has all my information on there as well. So the link is on the event page for the Buncee that has all those apps and everything on it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Have fun.
Thank you. Had a great time, guys. Thank you. See you later, Fran.
Okay, thank you, Nick. I have lots of awesome notes. I'll pass them along to you, a picture. 2 pages.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have fun.
Bye.
Bye. We'll see you later.